I'll take it.
Are you sure you're not interested? I was like, don't ask me again.
And it's a bad hair day too.
So she's like, scream for me, and then it's just dead silence.
It was a good risk to take, and it was great.
Boom! I'm gonna try to give you a friend, and then I was like,
I wish you had like a granny mask.
that would be so cool, or like a ghost uniform.
And everybody was like totally freaked out.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Kia ora. Hello.
Hello, Mark. My guest today is a guitar shredder of the highest order. She has been bringing the metal for years with the Iron Maidens. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, Courtney Cox.
You like that?
How are you, Courtney?
I'm great. And I'm glad you found the one video of Wasted Years where I actually mess up.
It was interesting as I was going through clips last night. I mean, obviously, there's so many things on YouTube that fans have filmed, and then there's some, some professional things too. That I think that clip, not because you messed up, but I just like the fact that you were on that side of the stage.
Well, you can see I make a face because I knew, I'm like, crap. Because I can't hear when I'm on that side of the stage. So.
Okay. Oh, that's true. That's true. If you're over there on stage right. Okay. And folks, it's still coming. She's coming in clear and not choppy. It's just me. Okay. So let's see here. See if I can, because on my end it looks fine. But let me see if I can. Let me see if I can change this for a second.
Hi, Cheese. What are you doing? Do you want to come say hello? Huh? Say hello. Cheese, stop stealing the light. Say hi, Cheese. Hi, Cheese. She always does this. Get out of here.
Wants to be on, huh?
No, always.
Okay. Folks, I just changed my setting. Let me know if that got any better for you from my end. And people are saying hi, Cheese.
I think she's more famous than I am, so.
It's interesting how many people's pets end up in these interviews. I should put a whole clip of them all together or something. Okay, but again, thank you so much for taking the time. So much better, Mark. Okay, good, awesome. So I'm glad that people can actually hear and see what I'm actually doing and saying. It's kind of important. How are things going down in LA?
Good. I'm having some rain, just stopped, and other than that, just another day.
Another day with.
Another day.
And that's another day with Cookie Monster, I think, right? Is that what I'm seeing?
You should know me by now. That's the one good thing about the dreaded C COVID word is that I can wear my PJs all day, every day.
That is true. It's like I was telling, I had an interview yesterday with the director, and she was laughing because you could only see the upper part of her and said, yeah, I have sweats on right now. And I'm like, so do I. So
right.
Like, yeah, doesn't really matter in this crazy year. And I've actually done job interviews where you could just wear a dress shirt and stuff on top, and it doesn't matter what's on the bottom. So things are going well down there. You've got some rain going on. We've got some sun up here in Seattle.
Yeah, and, we switched.
We did.
Yeah.
And I kind of like this.
Right? Enjoy it. It's not going to last long.
Yeah, no kidding. You guys will be back down to the sun and the nice temperatures, and we'll be just drenched.
Yes.
Like we get in Seattle. But as we were talking pre-show, for some of the artists, it's been, kind of a silver lining that they've had some time to be able to get some work done and some projects that they've been meaning to do, and they didn't have the time. And when COVID happened, then they ended up having that time. So where's that kind of fit for you on that timeline, that spectrum? Has it been like okay, not so okay, a little bit of both?
I go through phases. Either some months I'll be like, okay, every day writing, practicing, blah blah. And then some, month here, month there, I just don't want to play at all, which is completely fine. Like, you need the mental break sometimes, especially now since we're not doing shows. All musicians were kind of forced into this new social media thing where you have to post content constantly and stuff, and it kind of gets draining. But yeah, just trying to stay busy. I mean, other than music, it's nice, having time off, for my better half, relationship wise, because I'm, I used to be on the road 24/7, so it's a new thing even for us, being around each other 24/7 and not killing each other. But and my cats are completely over me being home. They just want me to leave. But overall, it's great. I know we all want to get back on the road and get back to the fans and even see shows myself. But just wait until it's safe, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's kind of, again, like we were talking pre-show, it's kind of all you can do. And sometimes there's going to be these moments coming up, and the Maidens have one coming up next month in Arizona, where you get a chance to be back on stage and play, but it won't be exactly how you remember it. It'll be a little bit different.
I hope I remember the songs. I'm kidding. I'll be all right.
Yeah, and you're kind of telling me too that like when you did the one or two live stream type of things, that it was just kind of odd, just because you don't have the audience right in your face.
Yes, it's very awkward. And like I said, we had one. It was semi indoor, semi outside. It was at a place called Gas Lamp in Long Beach. We played inside, and they streamed it out to the crowd in the parking lot. But at least they set up a little screen for us to see the crowd, so we knew like in between, so it wasn't completely silent for us. But that was cool. It's just still awkward. And I know it's probably awkward for fans too, having to sit at a table and this and that. Like it kind of misses that raw energy between the musicians and the fans. So I'm looking forward to that coming back.
Yeah,
but I'll take anything. Anything's better than nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, and particularly for metal audiences, to have to sit for anything is just odd, and not be able to mix it up with each other, and let alone with the energy with the band, that kind of thing.
I mean, I want to sit at a table and have dinner and watch my favorite band, but I kind of miss headbanging and pushing against people and screaming. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, yeah, like you're saying, it's something. It's a start.
Yes.
So kind of see where that goes. And so how are you and the band, since that gig's not till next month, but do you have to figure out things in terms of like doing any kind of rehearsal before you do it, or just going to be figuring out a set list ahead of time?
It would just be, Linda usually is our set list wizard, so she'll just send out a couple weeks beforehand, and don't really need to rehearse since, you can just put the album on. And we mesh really well, so we don't really have to do the rehearsal kind of thing. If we're worried about something, we'll just run it at sound check.
Okay.
So, but I know even for the Arizona gig, it's actually 2 shows. So it's going to be 2 different set lists. So it's going to be a lot of material to go over, but we'll be all right.
Okay.
Nothing we haven't done before. So.
And I'm just kind of a curious-minded person when I do my interviews. Since you've been a part of the Maidens, which has been a long time, 11 years? How long has it been?
Don't remind me, man. I'm getting old. It was like late 2008. I think my first show was in 2009, because we didn't have Kirsten at the time when I first joined.
Okay. So in your time with the band, which has been substantial, has there been a song from the first album through Seventh Son that you haven't played?
A few, a lot of the deeper cuts.
Okay.
Stuff like that, but we're still adding to the set list. It's just hard pleasing all the fans at shows, because can't satisfy everyone. But as you have to stick to a lot of the top 40 hits, Run to the Hills, all that stuff. So you have to make sure they're incorporated. But from time to time, especially if we return to a certain venue, we always make sure that most of the set list is completely different. And I know right now we're working on probably, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 4 to 5 newer tracks that we haven't touched before. So it's coming.
Awesome. Well, that's one of the nice things too, for seeing someone that's covering a band's material, that you can pull out deep cuts. You can pull out things that might be personal favorites as a band or a band member, particularly in Maiden's case, because once they set their live set, they don't they
don't change.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be that way. You rehearse prior. Don't change the set list, because all the stage stuff, pyro, you can't really change it or problems happen. Safety and.
Yeah, that's very true. And you end up with like a Metallica issue.
I was gonna bring that up. Oh man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're lucky that James is still with us.
Yes.
After that whole thing, because now that I think about it, that's after that incident happened. That's when they did that tour, or they're on that tour with Guns N' Roses, and they came here to the Kingdom, and he was in the cast and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think he had his guitar tech filled in.
Yeah,
which is
John Marshall.
awesome. So I
Yeah.
always make sure you know the songs just in case.
Yeah, you never know when you're gonna get that call. It's like, oh, you're on
Yep.
stage. What?
Okay, let me finish tuning first.
And we were kind of talking pre-show about some of your background, and for some of the hardcore fans, I'm sure you maybe have already heard some of this stuff, but there's some people that don't know all the details. So you're an East Coast girl, and what was life like for you before you started getting involved with music over there in Philly?
Well, I'm technically from Delaware County, which is right outside Philly. Like my house was a block from the Philly airport, to put it in perspective, if you know. Before music, I mean, music, especially like clarinet grade school stuff. I mean, music was always there, but I was really, kind of a jock. I was really into sports. And then started playing guitar on a whim, 13, just wanted a guitar for some reason. But it wasn't until a little after that I was in a car accident, which stopped me from playing lacrosse, which was my sport. Lacrosse was gonna, full ride to college, blah, 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 and car crash. And then I just really started focusing on music and never looked back.
Wow.
So I guess, it's something good came out of something terrible,
And well, one, I'm sorry that happened to you back then, but then two, is it to a point where you physically do things now to the level you were almost at back then, or is it like that's not going to be a possibility?
I don't have any interest to even go back to any kind of sport or anything, but it did leave me with a few herniated discs in my lower back. So even being on stage, I have to be really careful. I've had shows, I just took a wrong step and had to be carried to the van or the bus because I couldn't walk, and just have to watch it sometimes. Neck's fine. I can headbang all day, gig neck, not be able to look, but it's when my back goes. But I've learned over the years, what my limits are. Doesn't stop the show. So.
Okay. Well, and that's the most important thing. If you know your body and know the limits, then you know what you can and can't do. And I know that unfortunately too well, because I've got back issues. So I know, like, you can push it this far, but don't go past it, because then you'll be laid up.
Yeah, it's a pain I don't wish on anyone, not even my worst enemies. Lower back pain. Oh.
Yeah, no, that makes two of us for sure. When you're over there and you went from clarinet, like you mentioned, when you're actually talking about you were playing on your grandmother's piano, is the earliest memory you have of music. And then you went to guitar, and you were correct me if I was wrong, part of a School of Rock type of situation?
Yeah, the School of Rock, everyone's probably heard of it now, but the original school was in Philly. It's basically what the movie with Jack Black was based off of. There's actually a school's own movie called School of Rock, which is kind of a documentary thing. But it was, I joined, I started at 13, and then, I didn't really have friends because I was just kind of, especially after accident and stuff, focusing just on guitar. And then my mom saw I was just in the garage for hours on end by myself, not really socializing. And she found this school and signed me up. And then, 15, started touring with them. They had an all-star group. The top kids in the school, and I never looked back. It was, Adrian Ballou, they put us on tour with, with the kid backing band, and then it was John Anderson. They always had artists come in, so I got, play Mr. Scary with George Lynch when I was really young. It was just things that were terrifying at the time, but it definitely built confidence, and especially being on tour at that young of an age, you learned a lot, So I'm a lot wiser for my years now.
Yeah, no,
it was cool.
I can only imagine what that was like at 15. I was just trying to exist at 15, let alone go on tour with established acts. Good grief. And when you're going through School of Rock, so were they teaching you like theory and everything, or was it?
They had lessons, but that's why I always say I'm pretty much self-taught, because I always skip them because I didn't like being told what to do. And I didn't really have the focus. I still, even if I wanted to go to school now, I just don't have the focus for that kind of thing. So I just kind of did my own thing and then went on tour. I was the troublemaker. I went to a few when I first joined the school, but I just knew. And I also didn't want to sound like someone else. A lot of people, when they take lessons, sometimes they take it too much to a T, and then they ended up just sounding like their teacher, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I do know. I took lessons from two different teachers, and one of them was very, very narrow-minded about he only liked certain artists, so that kind of came out in his style, which then kind of bled into my style. And then the second one was completely open-minded, and that's when I kind of started finding my own voice. And once he gave me the tools, then I can kind of move on to myself and on my own and kind of explore things. So the right teacher makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And then with the school, I mean, other than like the lesson theory, blah, 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 I think what they taught the most and they taught the best was confidence, throwing you up on stage and you either, sink or swim, basically. They didn't sugarcoat anything. Like, you don't miss a note. You're on stage now, lights are on, go. There's no crying, no, oh, my feelings are hurt. If you showed emotion like that, you just get screamed at, not in a really bad way, but, suck it up. And then even some business stuff, like being on tour, seeing how behind the scenes works and stuff. So the school is really great for that. So give it to them for that.
Okay. And like you mentioned, you were playing guitar, by yourself for a long time before you got involved with the school. So making that transition, was it tough for you? Were you pretty more of an introvert then?
I still am. You wouldn't know, but yeah, behind closed doors, I'm really introverted. I was very nervous at first, but like the first time on stage with, other kids basically doing the same thing, starting the same way I did it, it took off. It didn't really affect me at all. Just had fun and the drive. Okay, when's the next show? When's the next show? What's the next city? It was great. But yeah, it's really hard to, especially being introverted or, doing everything in a garage or a basement, it's really hard to break out and jam with people, get on stage with people, even know how to contact people to jam with. So it was definitely a learning curve.
Okay, but it also sounds like once you got on a stage, you kind of found like
my feet hit and I was running. So
it definitely shows. I mean, even like if you watch anything from last year's performances, that you always look like you're having such a great time on stage, and you can't fake that. It just comes out.
Yeah, I'm just making fun of myself. You don't know I'm messing up. I do.
But there's a thing of a sports analogy. I met this relief pitcher for the Mariners, and he used to literally make these faces, like he'd stick his tongue out and stuff before he took the mound. And I got a chance to talk. I said, "What are you doing? What's up with those faces and stuff?" And he's like, "That's me just kind of getting mad at myself about forgetting something I was supposed to do, or I didn't warm up with it or whatever." And
yeah.
It sounds kind of similar. That maybe something on stage that the rest of us don't know.
And trust me, and everyone else in the band, we all know each other's looks, so we know when something's going on when you see us looking at each other. We all know each other's faces, good and bad. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess so everybody watching this, if you ever see the Maidens again in person, which you will eventually, then you can kind of look for those faces. I guess those looks.
We have poker faces. We hide them well.
Okay. And then I know that at one point you decided, I got to leave my area and come out west. So what prompted that move?
I mean, even some of the tours with the school, a lot of me and my friends on those tours, like one of them was Gina Gleason from Baroness. We were kind of like, oh man, we're not getting our metal fix, because it's all prog rock stuff. So we put together an all King Diamond female, tribute band thingy, and just to kill time on the side. And that became, there was some power behind it. And I was really into thrash metal and stuff. So I was just looking at the scene around, especially in Philly. It's just, the scene was changing, the thrash scene was dying out. I mean, it's still there, but it wasn't as big as it was. And, the kind of and I hate to use the word, the hipster thing came in, or artsy, or that's a better word, artsy, and all that kind of music. And I just knew and as everyone does, got to go to California, got to go to LA, that star thing. Ooh, got to get out there. And I did. I gave my mom a week's notice, like 19, and I was gone. She didn't like it, but, she told me if I didn't get out of the town that I grew up in, I never would. So I was gone.
Okay. Well,
terrifying, but it made it work. Because I'm the only one from my entire family on the West Coast, so it was kind of hard.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. And do you come from a large family?
Medium. But, we basically all live around each other too. Like my cousin lives a block from my mother, and then someone lives a block that way. It's like one of those kind of towns. Everyone, knows everything you're doing, all the drama, lots of wah-wahs.
I see. So when you made that trek out west to to Los Angeles. What was it first like when you first landed there? What was the scene like?
Well, I've been here before because I used to come out to the NAMM show a lot.
Okay.
So I think that's also like, oh, I want to live here kind of spark. And it was great when I first landed, got to make ends meet and figure out a way to survive and stuff. But people were nice. Well, I mean, a lot of people weren't nice, but majority of the ones I ran into were nice. And then within, not that long, I caught wind of, the Iron Maidens. I've always known of them, even, when I had Queen Diamond and stuff. They were kind of the rivals. And I heard they needed someone for the Adrian Smith position. I auditioned, and that was it. It was in. It's
Wow.
crazy thinking about that now because it's been so long. I was very fortunate, the stars aligned with that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I was there's some clips of Queen Diamond on YouTube that I saw.
I don't. They probably don't have me in it because they kept going when I left, and there was another. When I was in it, there was a 3-guitar lineup for harmonies, and then when I left, there was another girl, Allie, who was blonde, and people kind of confuse us. But I will send you some links if any still exist with me playing.
I saw at least 2 that had you playing with a 3-guitar lineup.
Black Jackson.
I think it was, yeah, and I think it was dated like 2008 or something.
Yeah, it's right before
I don't. Yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, look at that, because they actually put the lineup in the description part, so they were putting all the names and stuff. Like, oh my god.
How funny.
Wow. So you audition, get the role in the Maidens, and what do you remember from, like, let's say, that first year of playing gigs with them?
Well, when I first joined, they were still auditioning singers, and then shortly after that, Kirsten came in, and I think our first gig at the gate was Vegas, and then I think a month or so. I mean, I'm getting the time frame wrong here. I apologize. And then the first tour, Japan. I mean, we're just off. It was crazy. Yeah, I've never been to Japan before, so it's. And then it was tour after tour after tour, just going around the world. It's crazy. I was just so humbled and, appreciative that I get to do this kind of thing, and with a bunch of girls too. You can't, it's hard to be in a band, let alone be in a band with people you all get along with. So, or the family thing. We have the family thing. So, and it's not over yet. We're still going. That that ride's still going. Whenever we get back to shows, that is.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and that is really awesome that not only you played all over the world, you're with people that you like playing with and playing around, and then the Maidens as an entity have been with. This isn't like their 20th year, I think, overall.
Yeah, coming up on that. Yeah, I think October would be the 20th year. Wow. I mean, I know we're a tribute band, but for any kind of band, 20 years is saying something.
It is. It's like saying someone's been married for 20 years, really.
Know, right? Jeez.
That's quite a statement and quite a feat. So, but clearly people like what they're hearing and seeing, and all the different incarnations. And again, you've been with them for a long period of time too, so they enjoy seeing you on stage and how everything sounds. And I know some of the hardcore Maiden fans. One of my friends is a super hardcore Maiden fan, and he's in the chat right now. So he loves seeing you guys.
Hey, dude.
Ken is always somebody that likes it because he gets to hear some deep cuts. He gets to hear.
Oh, that's Ken. You were talking to Ken earlier. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's him.
Hi, Ken.
He was the singer in our high school band way back when I played bass. Nice. So here we are all these years later in like our early 50s or whatever, and we're still talking about Maiden and still talking about metal and all that wonderful stuff. Which
Ken, I'll get the dirt later from you.
Okay, and a question came in, Courtney. So which Maiden song is the most challenging to play?
See, I always hate answering this one because a lot of them are like second nature to me. I mean, most of them are. I think the most challenging thing for Maiden and performing Maiden tunes is not an individual song. It's 2 hours on stage with no break. The energy and stuff like that is actually the hardest, I would say. So it's a marathon when you're on stage playing all the songs back to back to back to back. So I say that's the hardest. And then even putting songs into that, it's really hard going from something that's like 15 minutes long into something that's 9 minutes long into. Sorry, I always ramble on this one because I always feel bad. They're like, oh no, they're not hard at all. It's more the performance is the hardest part.
Okay. Okay, so there you go. Oh gosh, I'm probably gonna butcher your name. It's Bridgel.
No, I know who that is.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But that makes sense too. I mean, you've been playing the songs for so long. You've been a guitarist forever. So I mean, you're gonna know these things.
Yeah, it's music I grew up with. So it's I'm the kind of musician that if I can sing it to myself, I can play it. If that makes sense. So.
Okay. And is there? I think I asked Nikki this during her interview. Is there a particular song that after a while you're just kind of like, yeah, I know we need to do it, but I would rather just kind of get past it?
Oh, I have many. For me, and I get flack for this too. Anytime I say it in an interview or whatever, Run to the Hills, I just can't. People understand it. If you're on like your millionth time playing it, you'd understand. But I don't know. Sorry.
She said the same thing.
Yeah. Well, she has it harder than me because she has, we usually play at the end of the night. So we're already, going through this marathon of bends and notes and, speeding at the, speed of light basically playing. And then she has to do the intro bend. So like she's already exhausted by the time we get to that. So bless her. Yeah, there's just something about that song. I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's it's got to be something like that. I think for any band playing any material, that there's got to be some song at some point that's like, yeah, I know we're gonna do it, and yeah,
here we go again.
Yeah, let's just hurry up in the next 4 minutes and we'll be past it. Either finish the night or move on to the next one.
Yeah. Whoops, sorry, ran out of time.
Catch us next time when we come back to your town, and maybe we'll play it. But on the flip side of that, is there a song that you really particularly do like playing?
Oh, Sea of Madness for me.
Okay.
The Sea of Madness, Still Life, a lot of the deeper cut songs.
Okay, and I know at one point you guys were even doing like B-sides, like Reach Out, and
yeah, I had to sing it. I actually missed that one. I hope we bring that back.
Okay.
But man, singing and playing is like that kind of thing. It's like I really got to get pumped up to do it.
The first time I had to sing in front of people and play guitar, I had a few beers.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it got to
a lot of beers. That was back in the day, though. So
I was just gonna say, I think I had 4 because it was like, and the guy that booked us was like, "Are you guys gonna play your set or what's going on?" Because we had taken a break, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just getting ready."
And then you get to like the second verse, like, crap, what's the first word? What's the first word? And then you're already like at the end of the second verse, just trying to remember. I don't know how Kirsten does it. Bless her heart. I'm not good with lyrics. I should probably just start making them up as I go. Be all right.
That would be funny, especially in this day and age when people got their phones out and stuff, videoing everything that shows up on YouTube. And
I'm not gonna lie, we have messed with the audience a few times, especially if people get to watch sound check, or sometimes Kirsten will throw in some different words, that, inside joke stuff, and it just goes. Oh.
Oh, and I see that a comment came. Thanks for playing Alexander the Great.
Long song, but it's great. I actually prefer Alexander to like rhyme, so it's more fun for me.
There you go.
Very long.
Yeah, and I was going to say when we were talking about the lyric thing, I understand why vocalists have teleprompters on stage. I totally understand that. Because even just having the lyrics, that doesn't tell you like where the breaks are and the melodies and everything else. It's just the words so you don't forget them. But there's so many songs for some of these bands.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So even somebody like Bruce, if he's out there with, I don't know if he uses a teleprompter or not, but I wouldn't blame him if he did. So many freaking songs.
I think my favorite one ever was it was Motorhead, and he started singing lyrics to a different song, but no one cared, and it just sounded exactly the same. No, don't stop and let him go.
Oh my gosh.
Stuff like that.
Speaking of that kind of thing, are there any, I mean, again, you've been on tour for so long and played in so many shows. Is there anything that stands out memory-wise of like something that crazy that happened on stage, or you've just on the road that just sticks in it's like burned into your memory?
Actually, you can see it in one of our videos too when we played this festival in Venezuela. There was, I forget how many, like 40,000 people there. It was crazy. And there was two things from that festival. One, we had to stop the show about 5 times. People were getting crushed on the front barricade, to the point that I had our tech grab this little girl that was being completely like that on the barricade and brought her up on stage and like shaking, and it was so cute. And then the second one, I think you can see in the Trooper video from that festival, someone jumps the stage and one of our techs just body slams him to the ground, and you can see me kick him to get him off the stage. I don't know. Things like that are burned in my memory. I mean, I have a lot of, every tour I always walk away with something that I never forget. It's just a blast. But yeah, anytime there's video of me like kicking someone off the stage, it's great. It's like it takes you right back. Like, I remember that kick.
Remember that kick? Remember where I got him really good right there. Oh my God. Well, and also just obviously, unfortunately now it's from a safety standpoint, you can't have anybody doing anything like that. So it's like, yeah, I mean, in the old days, yeah, you get on stage, you do your thing, you jump back in the crowd or whatever. It's now
stage dive. Oh, I don't miss those days. Cool.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what you're up to now, so it's like you be in the audience, we'll be on the stage. Kind of situation.
Yeah, and as you see, like the top of my guitar is very sharp, so yeah, do not come on my side of the stage if you attempt to jump on the stage, because you're gonna get that right to the eye.
That would be so awesome to see you kick somebody and then take your guitar.
Just a flesh wound. Just a flesh wound.
Get your ass off the stage.
Actually, like sometimes when I'm headbanging, I have to be very conscious where Wanda is, so I don't hit her. I do the flick. Like, I just don't want to take her eye out.
Oh man.
But she's a good sport. Like we know our bubbles, and
But I'm just curious. I mean, was your headstock designed that way? Like, did you say that I wanted it to be this way?
Oh, no. They're known for it's their design. They're known for it's on every guitar.
Okay. All right. Well, and also, I mean, how does it feel having a signature model?
It's great. It's definitely put my time in. There's a lot of, the trolls now. Like anytime a female artist gets a signature of anything, it's like, they think we just got it yesterday, kind of, or started yesterday. Like, no, a lot of us put 10 years in plus. So it's, it's kind of the reward for, you're giving your life to fans and stuff like that. So for me to have one, it's, I'm over the moon. It's just great.
Yeah, I think any musician out there who has any kind of negative comment like that, they're just jealous. They wish it was they wish it was them. I mean,
I always put like the eating popcorn thing or sipping coffee like as a reply. I mean, I don't care. I don't let any of that stuff get to me anyway. No.
Yeah, well, and because I'm thinking back, like when I started playing guitar, someone had told me X amount of years later I'd have a signature model. I mean, like, good grief, that would just be like unthinkable back then, and to actually have it happen, like it has for you, that's just going to be, like you said, you're over the moon about it. Mm-hmm. And you can actually look at it every day and think, that's my guitar, not.
And it's nice to have something personal that is not going to fail on you or break or this and that. I know exactly what's in the guitar. I know exactly how it was made. I know the ins and outs of it. So it's nice to have that.
Well, and we were talking pre-show a little bit because on social media you were posting about using some different plectrums from different guitarists and things like that. Yeah, and you said something really interesting about that. Can you kind of talk about why you were using those picks and the different thicknesses and shapes and all that?
Yeah, well, a lot of players, talking about myself pretty much, you get kind of just over comfortable, or I'm losing the word right now, but anyway. And I'm just so used to using my picks all the time. So it's time to try to get out of the box. I kind of sometimes go through different, thicknesses, shapes, just to, change up everything and give myself more of a challenge. And then obviously me posting clips, if anyone saw on my socials, it's me going through my first instrumental track, Delco, which is very, very fast. and I'm usually a very heavy, on my attack kind of player. So in order to play something at the speed which that song was written at, I have to play with a very light touch, and which also helps it being very clean and stuff like that. Because if you start to dig in, and my string action actually isn't that really low anyway, so definitely I need the light touch, or it's not going to happen. So I like giving myself the challenge of just using other picks, and if I don't like a pick, I practice with that one just to get comfortable with it. Because as we were talking before we went live, all musicians, sometimes when you're out at a bar, the house band wants you to come up, and you better know how to use the pick that the house band has, or you're going to make yourself look like a fool. Unless you carry your own picks with you at all times. You know what I mean? That kind of, it's just an extra little challenge thing. It's just ready for syncing up the right hand with the left hand. It's very important. So.
Yeah. And
sorry, I ramble a lot.
No, you're perfectly fine. I'm loving talking to you and hearing all these little extra details. I'm curious with all the collection of picks that you have. Was there any one particular pick that you did pull out and you're like, man, this one really is tough, so that's why I'm going to spend time with it?
I don't know. I kind of stopped after like 3 picks because I was trying to, prep for that playthrough of my song. I think the Glenn Tipton one I was using, it's very thin because I think he plays on 7s, his string gauge. So he's like the lightest touch I've ever seen or known of. So his pick's very, very, very thin. So that definitely forced me not to dig in because the thing would probably snap.
Right.
And then the other ones, you tend to find out that it's the same pick as yours, but just different color, or a lot of them have the same thickness. So it's like me going through everyone, see what's actually different. But the weirdest one obviously was the Glenn Tipton one because it was so thin.
Interesting. Yeah. And of that collection, or maybe just a general collection, do you have one that you only have one of, so like you would never play with that one?
I think it's probably my one dime bag pick that has hit his dart marks on it. I think it was from Reinventing the Steel. I forget what tour it's from, but yeah, that one's put away.
Nice.
Actually, the one I made a photo in that photo I posted. Actually, the Eddie Van Halen one. I should stop using that one. I don't think I have a duplicate of that one, so that one's going to be put away in the safe. But I'm not really a collector. I just I collect it just for memories. Like people get tour shirts, that kind of thing. I was just lucky, or the tech hands me the picks, or the artists themselves hand me the picks, or I catch them. Not that, but I'm not the ones who put it in like a plaque, all dated. And no, I'm not that kind of person.
It's interesting. I think I've talked with some other guests about how because of social media and everything, that almost every memory is recorded, and that people need to remember. It's nice to have a memory where you have to actually use your brain and remember what it was, not have something to go back to reference.
Yeah, I always wanted something physical. Even like I'll still buy CDs, I'll still buy vinyls just to have it. Because my computer can crash. I could lose my iCloud. I could lose everything basically.
Yeah. So, when I'm bringing up the physical media and vinyl and things like that, what got you into I think Metallica is one of the first thrash bands you're majorly into. Was somebody else playing those around you? Because I'm just thinking about your age and the time frame.
Yeah, it was my brother. I mean, his whole bedroom. I remember growing up was just all the CDs just around. He actually hated me for a while. We would butt heads constantly just because of my age. I wasn't allowed to listen to metal because that was his genre. So I used to go up and steal CDs and try to burn them real fast. But he always knew. And he'd scream at me and then go delete all the songs. I remember the first one I got away with, I had a Backstreet Boys CD. I forget what one it was, but then Kill 'Em All. It was a very weird time in my life. But then after that, it was like all the thrash bands, especially East Coast, like Overkill, the stuff, Demolition Hammer. Then I was looking at the ones from out here, just everyone, Violence, and just went down to just the thrash. That was a fun time.
That's cool. And when you mentioned Kill 'Em All and Backstreet Boys, I remember listening to Seventh Son and also Debbie Gibson. Kind of the same juxtaposition, I think.
Hey, I still listen to Backstreet Boys. There's some good guitar work in a lot of those songs too. So
there you go. And Did you ever get influenced or wanting to use the wah wah in terms of Kirk using his all the time?
Yeah, but I only used it on the songs that he uses it on. Especially when I've been covering a lot on my Instagram, like some of my favorite solos from like Injustice for All and stuff like that. And I don't add wah to, stuff like that. Even if he uses it live, like stuff with Kill 'Em All and stuff, I won't touch wah. But I mean, obviously listening to Kirk, when he's actually using the wah or not. But obviously later Metallica, it's kind of on every song live now. But I'm really strict with Kirk Hammett because he's the reason I wanted to play guitar. So I use the wah when it's on the album. So.
Okay. What about for your like your own solo work? Do you incorporate wah at all?
No. I think the only other time I used a wah was like some of the Pantera songs that I did at Dime Bash that he uses one with the dime wah. But other than that, no. I don't. I mean, you never know. I just haven't really thought about it. Okay. Right now, some of the songs that are completed don't really need it. Kind of.
Okay. And speaking of the solo record that you're working on, do you already know that's going to be like EP length, full length?
I'm still debating. Because right now it's just, I have certain songs that I'm focusing on, and then half of my computers is riffs and riffs and riffs and riffs and riffs and riffs and riffs. So it's like I could go either way. It just depends on how fast I want to get it out. Okay. And, the finances behind it, it's a lot goes into it to release a project the right way. So, especially physical copies. I mean, that kind of for people to have. So.
Yeah, and I bet you, a lot of folks that are watching this now, and myself included, we love physical media and just grew up with it, or just like you're saying, having something tangible in your hands. So even like when you're listening to it, you have something to look at, or look at the liner notes, or any of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just like.
Then even with, I know everyone, it's just the new age of Spotify and all that stuff, and people releasing it to iTunes and stuff. I was never a fan of. I'm not even that old, but albums back in the day, they were meant to be played from top to bottom, no skipping around or skipping over this, blah blah blah. And I kind of want that with mine. So it's just going to be tricky how to release it because the albums were set up in a certain way to take you on a journey, not just like here's the third track as a single. I mean, they kind of did that, but the whole thing, look at vinyl, it's just the entire way. If I'm making sense, here I go rambling again. No, I want the album to be a journey, and everyone listen to it from top to bottom, not find different tracks, because I want them to kind of blend into each other, the story basically.
Yeah, no, you're making perfect sense because I just interviewed a guest like about a week ago, and their EP is coming out, and he said the exact same thing, that they are very strategic about how they wanted that album to flow. He's a nut for the last song on any album, so you want to make sure you got the right last song on there. Yeah. So it makes you want to listen to it again. And
yeah, I mean, it's an art form putting together, just the list. It's a lot of people don't think about that. That's probably the hardest thing to do.
And that's exactly what he said. He said it took them so much time between the two of them trying to figure out, so what are we okay with? And we had more songs, but some of them didn't quite fit the flow, so we didn't put them on it. And some people that only listen to singles or listen to things, streaming wise, there's like foreign to them. They don't understand that concept of that.
I like sometimes when Spotify will put on a song and they don't realize it's just an intro. It's like 30 seconds long. It's supposed to lead into the next song. Like that kind of stuff I want to try to avoid. They don't realize it's an intro. So,
yeah.
Right? I'm not wrong on that.
No, you're not wrong on that at all. Again, for me, everything I love is physical. That's why I try to buy things when I can, especially during this time, to help support the artists, because for most people, and I think they understand this. This is the musician's job. This is what they do. It's their living. And when it got taken away, it's tough. It's really tough for everybody right now. So, because I know when I first started doing the interview, some people kind of have this idea that, well, they must have a lot of money saved up, right, from all those tours.
No.
It's like,
no.
It's like, no, this is how they pay their bills. And
it's not the 80s anymore. No one gets sick.
Yeah, it's like unless you're Metallica or somebody, you don't have that. This is what they do. Just like if you go to an office or you go to wherever you go, that's what they do. And so during this time, if people can support by buying merch of any kind, then that's what that's what helps float the boat, really.
Mhm.
And speaking of which, I believe the Maidens have a record already in the can, but it's not like ready to be.
Yeah, it's not ready yet. I think it's still in the mixing and mastering stage. It's kind of been stuck there for a while, but then COVID hit, so we're talking about it and see like what the next step is, but it will be out. And
Okay.
it's pretty good. Really good.
And just for me being, since I don't know how any of this works, when you put out an album of Maidens material, do you just have to pay something, or do they get royalties? How does that work?
I forget what we have to pay into, but yes, so the copyright and stuff, it's taken care of. So we're not just, running with it. Everything is strictly, everything's accounted for, pay the royalty thing, ASCAP and all that stuff. So everything's taken care of. I wish I knew exactly how we do it, but it's more of a Linda question. Okay. She handles all that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right.
But we're doing it by the book.
And besides the gig that's coming up in April, and then you're working on your solo record, and you just mentioned the Maidens have something that you're in the process of getting it ready for sometime, hopefully this year, or maybe early next, depending on how things go. Is there, I shouldn't say is there, you've been doing some collaborations online, because I saw the one for the King Diamond song, which was freaking amazing.
Thank you. That
yeah.
one was fun.
yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it came out because even with my record, Matt Thompson, who's King Diamond's drummer, is actually, doing a lot of my drums for my album. So I was just like, what? Seeing everyone do the jams and stuff, I'm like, well, we should do one. Let's just do something very obscure. And then that just came together. And there's a few more in the works. I can't say much yet, but some really cool tracks coming. It's just, we're all friends. It kind of keeps us busy, or we need a break from our own stuff. It's just fun to, call up your friends and, see them on video and do all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, we didn't have NAMM, last year, or this year, I should say. So that's when we used to see each other and jam. But now we just do it over social media.
Yeah, that's true. And I know, at least for myself, and I'm sure all the other fans feel the same way, it's such a cool treat for the fans to see all these different people that they like come together on a song that they like and just, rip through that thing. And that King Diamond track was,
playing
was amazing.
Stuff out of their, wheelhouse, something different.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. It's breaking up a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. There's our technology, our internet for us, but yeah.
I know, right? I hate it.
Yeah, I wish there was something I could just like press a button. It's like, okay, you're 100% good for whatever you're trying to do, and then you can go back with it. Yeah, it's not working
like the color bar, like you're in the red, you're in the green.
Yeah. And is there any other kind of gear stuff coming up that either you're getting personalized for yourself, or just something that you're trying to work on that you can kind of talk about at all?
I mean, other than my amp, I play Freeman, and they kind of made me I wouldn't say custom, but it's a hybrid of two of their amps, which is pretty cool. It's like a Butter Slacks, which is the distortion side, and then the clean side is their BE100. Other than that, I have a custom pedal thing that me and my better half have been working on. Is pretty much ready to be released. We just have to make sure each pedal does the exact same thing and nothing's different. Just made by hand kind of thing. It's my boost pedal, for solos and stuff. And then other than that, I don't really need much else. And I'm happy with my pedal board. Cables are fine. I got my picks, I don't really need any other custom stuff. I think guitar is probably the biggest thing that anyone has to worry about, other than an amp, obviously, because you tone. Mm-hmm. But I see that because I still use a tube amp, so even that's dying out for people.
Yeah,
I'm tube amp for life if I can't help it.
Okay, and speaking of that, question came in about: do you have a favorite lead player amongst the three Maiden guys?
Well, I mean, not because I'm in his position, but Adrian always was, even before I was in the Maidens. Listening to Maiden, I was always drawn to Adrian's tone and note choice, melody. He's very melodic, and my ears always went to that. Even like my own tone, it was kind of, I took notes from him, especially like the right amount of chorus, just touch of delay, that that 80s sound like you'd hear on Seven Son or Somewhere in Time. That era, late 80s or whatever, of Maiden.
Okay, well.
So, nerd.
Sorry. Well, Queen,
I'm sorry. I'm not usually a gearhead or anything like that, so it's rare to see me talking about it.
Yeah, well, and actually, Nikki said the same thing for her when we were talking, that she's not too much of a gearhead. She's like, she knows what she likes, and then she plays
And that's it. Yep.
Yeah. And then Adrian is such an amazing songwriter too. Queen has commented, yeah, absolutely. There's a big difference when he and Bruce left, and then when they eventually came back.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking about this during the other interview, that Yannick said that when he first joined, he was used to playing by himself. He wasn't used to the two guitar band situation, so it took him a while to get used to it.
Used to it.
Yeah, I think it took a long while to get used to it, to be honest. But now they're 6 and all that. Is she ready for a new Cookie Monster strap? Randall's asking.
Randall. Where is it? It's somewhere around here. I'm still wearing that thing in, man. A great strap. Yeah, I have a Cookie Monster strap that Randall made for me. I think it's awesome. And one of the faces is actually like an evil Cookie Monster. I was just always obsessed with Cookie Monster. I don't know if it's a weird thing or not, but I don't know. It's just funny. It always cracks me up.
That's cool. And
Googly eyes.
I try to always be prepared with these interviews as much as I possibly can be. And I want to say, I thought I had.
C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. Oh, cookie, cookie, cookie starts with C.
Wow, sorry. Could you see me during that?
No,
oh, sorry. I was dancing and singing.
Yeah, who doesn't like Cookie Monster? I mean, really.
That's great.
Well,
look at the smile on my face. That just made my day. So good.
Yeah, he's awesome. I remember watching Sesame Street things with Oscar the Grouch and Bert and Ernie and all those characters. And then...
Actually, right now, a lot. I forget who has it. It's like Disney Plus or someone, or HBO Max. HBO Max has it, all the seasons from day one. So I've been watching that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so watching the ones from the 70s is hysterical. So.
Well, and I just saw like the Manamana song. I don't know if you remember
that.
Manamana. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that they actually had the one that I had burned in my brain was, I think, from the 70s, but they actually did one back in '69 that was different. Different. It was like on YouTube. I did some sort of deep dive and found it. It's like, hey, that's that song. And they said
that's what we do. We just rip off stuff from like 70s and no one knows it's a cover. Come on.
Yeah, what are you talking about? It's all original. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate
pleasure.
it. Yeah, it was so awesome getting a chance to talk with you. And all the fans that are watching this, thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching this down the road, then thanks for checking things out. Make sure that you get your fix of Cookie Monster and the Iron Maidens, and look forward to Courtney's solo work when it's ready to come out. And I wish you and your partner down there to stay safe, and hopefully we can see you back on the stage sooner than later.
Yeah, same to you and everyone watching. Hopefully see you all soon, and be safe, please.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.